Hey, 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 hey. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bless you all. Thank you for joining me. My apologies. I'm a couple of minutes late jumping on here. Nonetheless, I am Pandy Kemp, the mother of four, coming to you this morning to read through the book of Proverbs. Today is day 16, so we're going to read Proverbs 16, and I am reading out of the Message version of the Bible. So, let me just do an introduction. So this month, I created a challenge that I committed to reading through the Proverbs with the intention to glean some wisdom to parent through Proverbs, right? So the book of Proverbs is like a treasure chest full of wisdom, y'all. And so if you've been joining me, whether you get up at 7 a.m., I know it's early, but the whole point and intention is to read through the Proverbs and spend this time alone with our Heavenly Father first thing in the morning before our children get up, before the day gets started. And so, again, the book of Proverbs is like a treasure chest filled with wisdom so that we can glean from this wisdom to live a life that honors our Creator. So each chapter, right, is like a practical guide for navigating real life situations with integrity, humility, and understanding for us as parents. So, Proverbs, I look at it as a manual for training our children with wisdom to build their character and to give them like a guide and concrete instructions for living righteousness and making wise choices. And that's the reason during the month of August that I'll be reading through the book of Proverbs. And I invite you to join me in reading a chapter a day. Um, like I like to say, a Proverbs a day keeps ignorance away. And so that together we can learn and we can uncover different principles that we can use to strengthen ourselves, our homes, and to shape our hearts, to shape our children's hearts, and just live a life anchored, filled with truth, which is a treasure. So, as we read, I encourage you to reflect on how these verses can apply to your life and can help us with better parenting, our family relationships, and just better our walk with the Most High. So, and with that, I encourage you to to register. You can go to parentingthroughproverbs.com and register. And there I'll be sending daily reflection questions, because this is definitely a journey, a lifelong journey. I am a lifelong learner. I don't know about you, but it's just like when we don't know what to do, hey, we can find what to do in this word. And so, my prayer, my hope is truly that by the end of this month, we can be more intentional parents. Okay, let me see here. Pause with me for just a second. I am going to see what happened here. My live went down on Facebook, so bear with me. And you can join me over on Facebook because that's where I do I have a parenting through Proverbs Facebook group so we can interact. And another vision or desire of mine is to have a Zoom call so we can kind of fellowship and encourage and support one another as we parent our children and definitely parent them way beyond their teen years, right? Because it's so much easier, 10 and under, good, easy, right? Or less challenging than it is when they get older, right? And so, bear with me just a second. I kind of want to, let me see here. Hey, what's happening, Facebook? So I'm back live. So My apologies. I don't know what happened there, but anyway, I don't know where I got cut off at. But again, I'll just say my hope is by the end of this month, as we read through the Proverbs, that we can be more intentional parents, get more rooted in His Word, equipped to guide our children, and just be committed to building a legacy of faith that will last for generations for our grandchildren and our children's children. So Proverbs is for definitely for both, for personal growth and for transforming our families. So let's read it live, like, share, and let's just pass it on. So with that, let me go ahead and get started. Oh, bear with me one second. I thought I had it pulled up, but I did not. And so I am pulling it up now. Love technology. So everything with a place and a purpose. So this is Proverbs 16 from the Message version. Mortals make elaborate plans, but Yah has the last word. Humans are satisfied with whatever looks good. Yah probes for what is actually good. Humans are satisfied with whatever looks good. Yah probes for what is good, right? So it's a difference there. Verse 3, put Yah in charge of your work, then what you've planned for will take place. Yah made everything with a place and a purpose. Even the wicked are included, but for judgment. Yah can't stomach arrogance or pretense. Believe me, He'll put those braggarts in their place. Guilt is banished through love and truth. The fear of Yah deflects evil. When Yah approves of your life, even your enemies will end up shaking your hand. For better, it is far better to be right and poor than to be rich and wrong. We plan the way we want to live, but only Yah makes us able to live it. A good leader motivates, doesn't mislead, doesn't exploit. Yah cares about honesty in the workplace. Your business is His business. So good. Like, your business is His business. Mm. Verse 12, good leaders abhor wrongdoings of all kinds. Sound leadership has a moral foundation. Good leaders cultivate honest speech. They love advisors who tell them the truth. An intemperate leader wreaks havoc in lives. You're smart to stay clear of someone like that. Yah-tempered leaders invigorate lives. They're like a spring rain and sunshine. Get wisdom is worth more than money. Choose insight over income every time. The road of right living bypasses evil. Oh, that's verse 17. The road of right living bypasses evil. Watch your step and save your life. First pride, then crash. The bigger the ego, the harder the fall. It is better to live humbly among the poor than to live it up among the rich and famous. It pays to take life seriously. Things work out when you trust in Yah. A wise person gets known for insight. Gracious words add to one's reputation. True intelligence is a spring of fresh water, while fools sweat it out the hard way. Ooh, let me highlight that. I might have to come back to that one. Verse 22, true intelligence is a spring of fresh water, while fools sweat it out the hard way. They make a lot of sense, these wise folks. Whenever they speak, their reputation increases. Grace's speech is like clover honey, good taste to the soul, quick energy for the body. There's a way that looks harmless enough. Look again. It leads straight to hell. Mm. Look, I'm going to come back to that one. Verse 26, appetite is an incentive to work. Hunger makes you work all the harder. Mean people spread mean gossip. Their words smart and burn. Troublemakers starts fight up friendships. Callous climbers be friends. They stab their own grandmothers in the back. Mm, mm, mm. Verse 30, a shifty eye betrays an evil intention. A clenched jaw signals trouble ahead. Gray hair is a mark of distinction, the award for a loyal life. Verse 32, moderation is better than muscle. Self-control is better than political power. Mm. Make your motions and cast your votes, but has the final say. So that concludes the reading of Proverbs 16, verses 1 through 33 in the Message version of the Bible. And then interact with me if whether you're watching this live with me. I can't see the comments. I think my comments are turned on YouTube. Not sure, but I'm gonna check it for tomorrow. So I would love to hear what came to mind as you heard me reading um, through the book of Proverbs. It was so good, right? I highlighted verse 22, right? Because using wisdom like is easy, right? Because this says food sweated out the hard way. And like we really don't want to make our life hard, right? So if I encourage you to do anything, do it God's way, right? And so we can have stuff, right? Because I remember the Bible verse, his yoke is truly easy, right? And then we don't want to do things that's going to lead us straight to hell, right? Verse 25 tells us there's a way that looks harmless enough. Look again, and I think the King James Version says we do stuff that's right in our own eyes, right? And then at the beginning, it starts off saying that how we make plans. But Yah definitely has the last word. So we definitely want to always consult and pray and get direction and guidance so that we're, staying in his will and not our own. So let me see here. I wanted to anything let me see, what do I want to, because I don't want to make this too long. So it was just 16 is so good. Yesterday was so good. It kind of felt like I could have like spent quite some time pointing out quite a few things. But today I want to say verse 18, right? When we're talking about pride, right? First pride, then the crash. The bigger the ego, the harder the fall. So that's why humility is so important, right? For us and for us to train our children. So I'll just quickly mention two takeaways, right? Two takeaways for us. Number one, to instill humility and to definitely guard against pride. In KJV, it says, pride goes before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. So we really have to stress and teach the fact that pride is dangerous, right? Because we don't want to fall. And just really, humility really opens the door to learning, right? Respect and honor. And it betters our relationships, right? And Yah has favor for those that are humble. And pride really just isolates us. It ruins relationships and it leads to us making mistakes. So I just wanted to point out a few Bible stories that we can talk to our children about when it comes to pride, right? In Daniel chapter 4, we remember Nebuchadnezzar, right? How pride had brought him low, because he had stopped acknowledging the Most High, right? In a way that he was to do things. And then Luke chapter 18, verse 9 to 14, It tells us the story of the Pharisee and the tax collector, and how, Pharisees operated out of pride and a lot of arrogance, right? And how that was not pleasing to Yah, right? Humility is pleasing to Yah. And then the last, so those two stories, again, in Daniel 4 about Nebuchadnezzar. You can share that story with your children, and then about the Pharisees and tax collector. And the whole point is to show that how pride can make the person fall, and is more pleasing for when we have humility. And so, just in the effort to teach our children humility, we can teach them to practice gratitude, and we can do that ourselves, right? And writing, right, and reading, and just humility, so they can, you know, write 10 things a day of different things that they're grateful for. Like, I'm grateful for my pillow, my bed, my sheets. I'm grateful for food. I'm grateful that we went to the park yesterday. Just encourage our children to practice gratitude and give thanks to God, and, acknowledge some of the blessings and the help and the guidance that they get. So, y'all can do this as a family practice. Sit down, get out our journals, and write together about different things that we're grateful for. You can do this first thing in the morning, you could do it for lunch, or you can do it at night for dinner. Um, so that's one thing that we could do together as a family to practice gratitude. Another thing is to volunteer together, right? It's a humbling thing, because sometimes as children, we ourselves could take things for granted, right? And so just to volunteer, like in a homeless shelter or at a hospital, because some children, they don't have mothers, right? They don't have their fathers for one reason or another, whether they passed away, mothers die in childbirth, or um, the fathers might pass away, and then those children are left in hospitals, and then you have, I don't know if they got orphanages, but they have homes where, until children like find foster care. But just really the point here is, um, to not take our parents for granted. And so, we can volunteer at different places with our children. So serving together, it really teaches humility, that life is just not about ourselves, but it's about helping others, right? So, so with that, that's all I have. Thank you for joining me. Like, share, and I'll be here first thing in the morning, 7 o'clock. And all right, well, bless y'all. Enjoy this day Yah has made. Rejoice and be glad in it. And I leave you in peace as I came to you in peace, with that ancient Hebrew word for peace. Shalom, shalom.